Hello. I like how the background kind of like shows your current location. That's like the room we left in. Have the water on hand. Ugh. Hello, hello. If it's the background of it, true. I think if I get paid tonight at midnight, which I should unless there's any complications, I will put in the message to Kiandi about the emotes before I go to sleep. So that means I need to say what we're doing. So the decisions need to be come to. You know, we need to nail the ideas. Huh? I think I want that Saitama hype one. But in terms of the others, I am unsure. Coming up, a whole series of thinking tonight time. Go. Continuing Adventure 4, huh? We will begin with conversing with Herlock, huh? Yes, we'll start playing from this one. The man, huh? Got the live notification? Oh, I didn't send it. Oops, my bad. I thought I sent it. Thank you very much. It's not going to make a difference anyway, right? Alright, Herlock. What can you tell us about this mysterious man sign? Mr. Natsume's arrest? We know this to be the lodgings of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Suzuki Natsume. It seems that you assisted in his arrest, Mr. Sholmes, for the stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road. I know, you'll not be around after seeing me now. Yes. I believe it was a name rather along those lines. Mr. Natsume denies it. Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little? I'm sorry, Miss Sasato, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean. What? I can't believe he was looking Sato-san squarely in the eye while feigning ignorance. I assure you, I am not merely feigning ignorance. I would appear as if the pair of you were under some misapprehension. Oh? How? I assure you I have no recollection of accusing your stupid compatriot of the crime. But that doesn't make sense. The good detective of Scotland Yard made the following request of me, and I quote verbatim. We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene. Ah, a man seen fleeing. There were a number of books scattered on the pavement on the scene. From the book plates, I was quickly able to determine the bookshop from which they had been purchased. On speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? I believe there is a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question. You don't think Mr. Natsume is the culprit, then? That I could not tell you, but it was aggravating my faculties, hence why I returned here. However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books, I find myself quite lost in bibliophily? Do not be deceived into believing that I am a man of leisure. No, no, no. Oh dear. Mr. Garadeb, the landlord. Ah, tell me. Have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings? Yes, Mr. Garadeb, a retired military man. It was the first time I've ever met a soldier from the Great British Institution, that is, the services. And it was the first time I've ever made a maid from the Great British Institution, that is, service. Ha 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 ha. I didn't think it was that funny. I do apologize. As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid. Yes, I read as much in my Great Britain primer. Like a manga primer. And so, conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to bestoken the social standing of those dwelling therein. Betoken their social standing? Sorry? Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family. Goodness, how extraordinary. As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundary between the middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the utmost importance. I had no idea. And it is for precisely that reason that I find great stimulation in the situation upstairs. Specifically, in the retired army veteran, Mr. John Garadeb. Oh? Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Whether or not it imposes on the current circumstance of his case, I am yet unable to ascertain. I'm thoroughly lost on what he means to say. He's like trying to hang on to his like glory days, right? And he's like playing everything down. The dingy room. This room is thoroughly suffocating for the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you, any man whose lot is to dwell in a place such as this will stab someone sooner or later. So I'm not gonna touch that one. Mr. Natsume has stabbed no one. Ah, but sooner or later, as I said. I don't believe that's the issue here. About this dark little room, Mr. Sholmes? Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea? No window? Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window, of sorts. It's just bricks, though. But it's been completely blocked with bricks. Ah, I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax. Window? Hello, Feral. I see you're playing Destiny 2, huh? What's going on there, huh? Destiny tax, huh? Surely not a tax on Windows. Precisely that. Oh my goodness. Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows. Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home perhaps, rapidly closed windows up. Is that a thing? That's awful. Trying to play more like Lamau. And get the old muscle memory back into it. Huh? While the rich open windows here, there, and everywhere, we'll be discussing some emote stuff tonight, Feral, some stage. If you're ever about it, you want any input on any of those? I'll be commissioning 3 more emotes tonight after stream, and we'll be discussing them throughout the stream. So if you ever want any input on any of them, feel free to stop by, or I'll put any messages, put anything you want in Discord as well. In an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money. How awful and unjust, forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light. A cozy, okay. Indeed, disease was rife as a result. So some 40 years ago or thereabouts, the window tax was abolished. But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example. I suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps. It would appear so. I've done a little digging, and discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinarily low price. Because the room is so awful, I should think. Apparently, Mr. Natsume only moved in here about 1 week ago. Yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe the low rent is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation. Oh? Still, that is of little relevance here, a matter not worthy of further attention. Are you sure? I'm curious now. Why is it so cheap then? Is it because the landlord's fucking shite, hey? Or the maid tries to kill you in your sleep, probably? Well, I believe I've told you all I can now. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law? You remember that, do you? Would you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it? I'm not sure. Not sure? On what grounds? Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday. Really? Well, then I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized, and so promptly, too. The thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence? Yes, trust. Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he? Ah, ha, 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 ha. My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea. Oh, but I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate? Ah, yes. That was indeed my initial intention. But there are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them. Oh, I see. Nevertheless, there are two facts that I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was the Japanese occupant of this room. And there are witnesses who swear to having seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. Ah, and one more thing. Oh? What is it, Mr. Sholmes? Tell us. I cannot say with any certainty whether it is of can't talk. I cannot say with any certainty whether or not it is of relevance to this case, but I am quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something. Mr. Gardeb is... Mr. Sholmes said as much before, actually, didn't he? Him and the maid are fucking hiding. They're hiding conspiracy. Anyway, at present, that is really all that plays on my mind in relation to this case. Mr. Naruhodo. As yet, our investigations have uncovered nothing that could help establish Mr. Natsume's innocence. No, you're right. Perhaps it's time we probed a little deeper into Mr. Gardeb's secret. Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo. He's gonna disappear, isn't he? Yeah. Fucking Blue's Clues himself through that wall. A busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room. You go back and talk to Mr. Gardeb, maybe? Oh, 19th of February. Mr. Gardeb's room. Are they still here? Yes, they are. Ah, you pair again. Tell me, was the detective chap, I forget his name, still hard at work down there? Mr. Herlock Sholmes? Ah, yes. Rings a vague bell. All that detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid. Well, Mr. Sholmes is in his element down there. Jolly good show. Another cup of tea, if you please, Joan. Now then, why don't you tell me what... Yeah! For an upteenth time, woman, will you watch what you're belly-wall doing? I shall be serving dinner shortly, sir. Ah, yes, of course. Frightfully rude of me, but I'm afraid I shall have to ask you to take your leave, if you'd be so kind. Oh, yes, of course. We are deeply grateful for all your assistance. Not at all, not at all. Don't get much chance to talk with young foreigners like yourselves. It's been a pleasure. Best of luck and all that. Perhaps you could see yourselves out. What? Fucking, that was no good. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Gardeb is hiding something. And since no other avenues of investigation seem open to us at the moment, perhaps we should do some digging. No other man has trouble walking when his mate pours scalding water over his legs. He probably fucking has. He probably, if he would pull up his fucking... If he pulled up his fucking trousers, there'd just be bones. Fucking what's Herlock in here? Ah, what's he doing over there? No. Mr. Sholmes? Ah, we meet again, Miss Idea fellows. Good gracious. When did you sneak in? I forgot this guy's voice time. When did you sneak in here? Herlock Sholmes, sir, at your service. Whatever are you doing over by the window? I am given to watching the evening sky as the sun sets, madam. Yet sadly, cheerful as the room downstairs undoubtedly is, it lacks an aperture for such observation. So I took the liberty of borrowing a small corner of space by the window up here. Well. Keeping an eye to one's windows at dusk is the prudent thing to do in London, I'm gathering. Ah, and one other thing, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, me? I thought perhaps you might be in need of a certain great detective's great mind. Oh no. Wait. He's not talking about... Is he? I didn't expect to be going through that again so soon. Do you mean Mr. Sholmes? Oh, we're going to do one of the fucking great investigation things, aren't we? There is a mighty secret in this modest room. My eyes see even the most trivial of trifles. I take it you're prepared, Mr. Naruhodo. I think so. There is just time enough for one of my greatly admired great deductions. Let us conclude the matter before dark. Let's go. Mr. Gardeb. though it would seem you are a military man of considerably distinguished service. Your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what one might call first-rate. I'm afraid, sir, that it is all too clear to me. There are two conclusions I have been able to draw by careful observation of your living arrangements. I beg your pardon. Remember the voice. The first is that even as we speak, you are concealing the presence of a ferocious beast in your care. Hey? And the second is that as a result of the beast's violent rampage, you have lost something very dear to you. Mr. Naruhodo, look! The old man's broken out in a cold sweat. Unbelievably, it seems Mr. Sholmes' conclusions are both spot on. Hey, Swippy. How could you possibly? How could I possibly know, you mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. For in the dense jungle of logic and reasoning, I am the king of beasts. Ah! And I know only too well that wild beasts are not easily tamed. So, shall we begin? Once again, Herlock Sholmes is proud to present Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. The Great Deduction, the Game of the Foot. Topic 1. Nature of the Beast. It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Would say foil walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? Ah, for a man with a military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Oh. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garadeb, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue. Yes, though an army man, you appear unimposing at best, a fact that has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, the king of beasts. What is this piffle, I ask you? Man's fucking going. No, from Texas, apparently, him. In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, that you had a living, breathing specimen shipped from India, which you tried to keep in this very house. What? Yet living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you had imagined. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well. Yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam. Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction. It is? Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. For protruding from it is a handbill advertising a circus show. Oh! Yes, you sought to dispose of this terrifying lion, Mr. Garadeb, at Batty's Circus, a travelling show currently sojourning in a nearby park. I've observed the tents. You've sold the savage lion, sir, to the circus troupe. I most certainly did not. I believe I have made my point. The fearsome beast which ran amok in this room was an Indian lion. And a simple visit to the circus now will reveal the lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire. Conclusion. A rampaging Asiatic lion. Topic 2. Aftermath. Now, Mr. Garadeb, it is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. Amid fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is clearly visible in your visage. Nonsense, man. I simply... But what, we must ask ourselves, is the true cause of this pain? And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is this pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Every envelope contains another demand for payment. Oh. For cartloads of meat, potatoes, wheat and tea. Indeed, feeding your beloved has a devastating impact on the financial circumstances of your household. And so you had no choice but to let it go. Yes, well, Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last, unimaginable attack. Oh, unimaginable? The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I am not mistaken. Oh dearie me. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of Cakes. Oh! There is no creature more dangerous on this earth than a beast with an unsatiated appetite. Was it or was it not once said by a certain noblewoman, if they have no bread, let them eat cake? Food is at the heart of all tragedy, in fact. Whatever do you mean? Having tired of the taste of cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I'm sure I need not spell out the nature of this final act of destruction carried out by the beast. There's only one logical conclusion. Worked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet. The teeth marks in the carpet are a perfect match with those of a lion I once saw in India. Carpet gnawed on by the starving lion. Perfect time, let's go. Send the time, let's go. Thus concludes Sherlock Sholmes' great deduction of this beastly puzzle. Ah! What is the matter with you, Joan? You're pouring scalding hot tea all over me. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Garrideb. I'm afraid I didn't notice. My deductions can be startlingly sharp. It stands to reason that your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people spill tears at times too. Oh. Mr. Sholmes? Sorry to butt in again, but can I make an observation? Why, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it? Again? Well, your deductions just now. Do you really think a lion could have fit inside a room of this size? Indeed, it is the only explanation for the facts. The terrifying truth all too often lies beyond the realms of common sense. But wouldn't it be an idea to consider what lies inside the realms of common sense as well? But if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Garrideb and his maid would have been hurt. Or worse, expelled. Ah, that's where you were stuck. No doubt the former military man held his own against the beast using that large cannon. I thought you said they sold the lion to the circus. And what about the food? Meat and potatoes are one thing. But I don't believe I have ever heard of a lion that drinks tea. Ah, my dear Mrs. Sato, it occurs to me with some regularity that irrespective of race and breeding, whenever anyone lands on Great British soil, they are infused with a highly appropriate taste for afternoon tea. Oh, what a glorious notion. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's your turn to shine again. I had a feeling that was coming. A slight massage, that's all Mr. Sholmes' deductions need. You can do it! Excellent. I've been waiting for my trusty partner in deduction to step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. We don't even know yet whether or not this is going to help with Mr. Natsume's case. Still, uncovering the truth is always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. At least, that's what I want to believe. Let us start again. From the beginning of Sherlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Let's go! Hold it! It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? Ah, for a man with a military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Aye. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garrideb, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue. Nah. I didn't really see the lion thing coming. No, but if you observe Mr. Garrideb's reaction, it rather seems as though some beast did indeed run amok in here in this room. Yes, something with a very fierce nature. But it couldn't have been a lion transported from India. So what was it then? We must follow Mr. Gardeb's gaze. That will lead us to the true answer. It was probably the fucking cat from downstairs, wasn't it? Oh! What's that there? Photograph frame. What the? What's this photograph? It appears to me from Mr. Gardeb's wedding. He looks very happy, doesn't he? He does, but you can't make out his bride. It's the maid, right? His bride looks very tiny. It does. She's doing the hand thing. The hand thing on her cheek, which is what the maid does. Right? Oh, how unfortunate. Something must have struck the glass directly over the woman's face. I wonder what happened. Probably best not to delve too deeply there. It must have been when Mr. Gardeb was still in the army. He seems to be carrying his rather stout bride effortlessly and beaming a smile at the same time. I thought she was very tiny too. That's why I was like, I suppose he was very strong in his younger years. Hard to imagine now. He's as thin as a rake. The glass is broken so you can't see the bride's face at all. But no amount of cracks could hide the woman's plump form. I think powerful would be kinder than plump, Mr. Naruhodo. Yeah, she certainly looks that. There's a lot of horsepower there. Not someone you want to upset, that's for sure. Oh look, have you noticed her wedding ring? It's very large, isn't it? Yeah, that's an unusual design. Looks like some sort of embellished sunflower. Just remove the frame. Yeah. What really caused the damage in this room? Did she just go fucking berserk, huh? And fucking started smashing shit? These are shells for the cannon, aren't they? Are they? What a strange place to keep them. I imagine they have some significance to Mr. Gardeb from his time in the army. Ah, of course. He mentioned the battle to us before, didn't he? Do you remember? He said that he'd been shot in the knee. Perhaps it was one of those that hit him. He's from Skyrim. If a round that size hit his knee, there'd be nothing left of it. Or Mr. Gardeb for that matter. Mr. Sholmes has a Persian slipper. And this man has spent shells. Perhaps it's customary in Britain to display, well, rubbish on the mantelpiece. Got him. The lion statue should be. It has to be the frame behind it, otherwise you wouldn't look at the statue. Oh, this is the lion statue Mr. Sholmes picked out. Yes, I wonder. Perhaps if you did live with a lion, it would prove to be a rather sweet companion. I think that's like a mouse trying to tell his family that the cat around the house is sweet. I suppose it is a bit of a flight of fancy, isn't it? Anyway, the beast we're looking for is something else. Let's have a good look around. I imagine she just went fucking mental and she starts fucking smashing shit, huh? Look at this photograph.
Take that!
The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that newlywed bride. Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo. No other explanation could possibly fit. Yes, this framed print pictures your wife, Mr. Gardeb. And while we lament the fact that her face is obscured, we can still clearly make out her mighty arms and note the considerable horsepower they must contain. Oh, indeed. Surely any woman of such powerful constitution would be honored to be described as a beast. Honored might be stretching a point. Too late, the fact remains that the beast, which so clearly savaged this room, was your wife, Mr. Gardeb. Yeah. Oh, he's got a big fucking handprint here. Whenever he turns his face, there's a big fucking handprint that you don't normally see because he faces you side on. I don't know if anyone spotted that time, or if it's just my fucking eagle eyes time. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well. Yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Hello, Emmy. How's it going? Where could this angry creature disappear to, madam? DC Daniels, me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction. Hello, Icy. How's it going? It is? Hello, Zero. Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. The beast is her? Huh? She went fucking mental? The poor, fragile, defenseless woman is beside herself. Well, I don't know about fragile. Oh dear. Anyway, Mr. Sholmes is quite right. There's no sign of a Mrs. Gardev anywhere. Or is there? I love the emotes, Emmy, by the way. If you don't mind my asking, Emmy, how did you come across Lemmy? Lemmy's really good. All the sub badges on my channel are all Lemmys. They're all really, really good. Kiandi does my emotes and Lemmy does my sub badges. Both are really good. Thanks for the follow, Zero. Appreciate it. But it seems there may be a clue as to her whereabouts. A clue that this maid is trying to hide. I wonder where Mr. Gardev's wife could be. What do you mean, where could she be? It's fucking here. Look at his face. The big fucking handprint. He posted a tweet saying I was looking for an artist and she was one of the people who reacted. Lemmy is very, very good. She's really, really lovely to speak to. I've never had any problems with her. She's super accommodating. And she's just super sweet and really, really nice to work with. Domestic violence, yes! There's fucking shit going on here, hey? So what are we actually looking for? Your something gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. Not the teapot. We can just examine her. Too tightly shut eyes to avoid even the chance of a giveaway glance. Pursed lips to prevent any secrets from slipping out. Rounded cheeks to deflect any abuse that might be hurled her way. Yes, this is an unnervingly powerful woman, Mrs. Sato. It's your turn to face. It's unnerving, Mr. Naruhodo. We can't examine his face yet, but his fucking face is clearly... clearly a giveaway, huh? What does it say about the teapot? What a charming little teapot, and it's in pristine condition. Joan has been pouring some deliciously fragrant tea from it for Mr. Gardev, hasn't she? Well, not so much for Mr. Gardev, as on Mr. Gardev, wouldn't you say? I wouldn't dream of drawing attention to it. So you're something... It's the wording of it, right? Your blank gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. Is it the fact that the teapot is, like, not broken or anything? What reveals Mrs. Gardev's current whereabouts? I mean, just the fucking maid, right? You see the thing? Oh. Fuck, I didn't even see those shattered things there. We can't say to her, you're a maid, huh? Yeah, his face is fucking slapped, huh? Looking like fucking baboon's arse, huh? Look at him. No wonder he faces us like this. You can't see the other half. Booba. I don't think we can say you're... Nah, we can't say the maid. Do you actually replace that word? Yes, you're replacing the word, yeah. What does it actually say? What does it say about the pocket? It certainly does appear to be a circus handbill poking out from her pockets. Batty Circus. Currently performing shows in a park not far from here. You don't think... Surely Mr. Gardev didn't sell his wife to the circus. Mr. Naruhodo, how could you even say such a thing? Or think such a thing, sorry. I was only joking. Besides, I would have gone with, do you think he fed her to his pet lion? That's somehow worse. This is a fucking scary angle, huh? Oh! There's the fucking ring, boy! There you go. Why is she disguising herself as his maid, then? She's wearing a very large ring, look. Oh yes, a sunflower design with some rather nice embellishments. And it's on the ring finger of her left hand, which means it's surely a wedding ring. It looks like it's on there for life, too. Can't imagine it would slide off a finger of that size. Renosuke, stop it, hey. You're fucking digging yourself a hole, huh? That's something to think, Mr. Naruhodo. Not to say. You know, Mr. Gardev's wife in the photograph had a ring very much like this one. It was a large sunflower design as well. Really? You have a great memory for these things. A large sunflower wedding ring. It's quite a coincidence that they have the same ring, isn't it? Why did she disguise herself as his maid? Is she like tax evasion or something? I don't know.
Take that!
Your wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. Huh! Indeed it does. That flowery band gleaming on your finger gives you away. For it is identical to the one shown in the hand of Mr. Gardev's bride in this photographic print. In other words, you are no ordinary household maid. Oh. No. You are Mr. Gardev's lucky bride. You are Mrs. Gardev herself. Oh my! What? Why is she the maid then? There's some fucking shit on this house, hey? That's probably why he's got a slapped face, hey? Well, jolly fine detecting, sir. As you rightly surmise, this is the wife, yes. My Joan. This is the wife, huh? Gammon. Rather let herself go, you might say. But she was a bully quarterback. It would appear that you don't live in the most comfortable of circumstances. After all, you are a retired army man, yet you are in the business of renting out rooms. I would assume, therefore, you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct? It's not right, I tell you. I was 2nd Lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment. A man has his pride, don't you know? A very healthy relationship here. By golly, it's a sorry thing when a chap can't even afford to have a single maid in his employ. Yes, here in London, one is rather judged. A household cannot be considered worthy of society if it employs no staff at all. Though in my considered opinion, such concerns about appearances are a folly. You mean Mr. Gardev has his wife work as his maid? Precisely. Am I right, Mr. Gardev? Only in company, obviously. But listen here. This must remain a secret. Tip-top secret, please. Yikes! The raging wife of Mr. Gardev, huh? She just went fucking metal and started wrecking the place. Now, Mr. Gardev. It is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders. The pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. No, the pain is being revealed by his fucking baboon arched cheek, huh? That's what the pain is. Mr. Sholmes is quite something. He's still calling Mr. Gardev's wife a beast. Yes, a woman that feels rather uncomfortable. As a woman that feels rather uncomfortable. Mrs. Gardev is standing beside her husband as we speak. In other words, he hasn't lost his beloved at all, has he? Oh, how true. So perhaps that supporting arm that seems to be propping up his head has some other significance then. He's fucking sore, huh? According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Gardev's pain is tangible though. Look at that pose of his really signify. He's fucking sore. Look at his face. Slap cheek. Aye, there. Fucking covered his eye. Oh my, look at that bright red mark. Gosh, that's quite something. And clearly made by somebody's hand. Yes, Mr. Gardev has been slapped in the face, it seems. Hard. I've never seen such a clearly defined mark. Whoever could have done such a thing? Well, there's a very limited number of candidates, I'd say. Yeah, that's it.
Take that!
Smack and whack, huh? Boom. Man's not hot time. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders. The pain you feel being revealed by that slapped cheek. And of course, the deliverer of that impressive mark on your cheek that refuses to fade. Was you, Madame Joan Gardev? Well, yes. You have been desperate to hide the slap mark on your cheek, sir. Oh! How the blazes? Did you work that out, man? Nothing escapes the notice of one trained in the art of observation, my dear fellow. That's why you haven't looked directly at us even once. To keep your other side from view. Well, Now, let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why were you subjected to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves, what caused Madame Garradeb to fly into a rage? The cannon. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Something's in the bin, right? Yes, it is this pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. I don't think so, huh? Didn't Mr. Sholmes say that the bills were all for lion fodder? Yeah, but now we've established that the lion never existed. Which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling up all that food was Mr. Garradeb's wife. Mr. Naruto, she's a person, not a thing. Yes, well, she's also a person who gave her husband a mighty slapper in the face. One so hard that it left a perfect hand mark, in fact. Yes, why would a woman want to hit her husband with such force, I wonder? I'd love to know the answer to that question. Shigunzum. Oh! Oh, Jesus, hey. Oh, Jesus, what's that there, babe? What's that there, babe? Oh, Christ's sake. Ah, someone must be reading this book at the moment. There's a bookmark here, look. Mr. Garradeb is clearly an avid reader. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think this is a bookmark. Oh, no, so it isn't. It's a note written in a woman's hand. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. And look next to the signature here. Lip marks. Named with lipstick. Oh, what a passionate and romantic gesture. Don't get any ideas, Sasaru-san. Oh dear, I'm sorry. So this bookmark is actually a love note then. Jaegers.
Take that!
Oh dear. Avid reader of Ice Planet Barbarians, hi. Yes, it is this love note that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Passionate indeed. Oh, fuck litter face, I. Perhaps the sender of this note, a certain Miss Mary, is the fly in the ointment here. Ah! But I don't know the Bolly woman. You don't know her. That note wasn't written to me. It was just in the book. I don't know how it got there. It was just in there, you say? That's right. That's what I've been saying. Ah! 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 A likely story. Now listen here, Joan, old thing. I explained at the time. I bought the book at that second-hand place, and that note must already have been in there. So the previous owner of the book was using the note as a bookmark, you mean? That's right. That's what I've been saying. Ah! Ah! A likely story. For heaven's sake, woman, look at the name. It's written to James. A fucking Jesse and James. In my case, my name is for John. A likely story. Are you questioning my name now? Oh, Christ almighty. And there we have it. Arouse the suspicions of the female heart, and you unleash a beast with the most ferocious bite. Oh. Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last, unimaginable act. Oh, unimaginable? The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I am not mistaken. Oh dearie me. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain that I have said of the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of Cakes. The cakes at a time. But surely Mrs. Garradeb didn't eat the carpet. No, of course not. But there doesn't seem to be any doubts that the state of disarray that this room is in is a result of her wild temper. The cake stabbed the woman? Christ almighty, huh? Well, that's not true. So this is the last part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction that we need to fix. We need only to follow Mrs. Garradeb's gaze, and that will tell us the real answer. Alright, let's see what we can do. Yes! What does it say about the carpet then? The carpet here has been ripped to shreds. Yes, and according to Mr. Sholmes' deduction, the tears match those made by an Indian lion's teeth exactly. Oh, look here. What is it? If you look closely at the edge, you can see scorch marks. Oh yes, so you can. In that case, perhaps the carpet wasn't eaten in the normal sense at all. Let's rethink this with that in mind. It was burned. Ah yeah, there's a candle missing from the candlestick. Yeah. I didn't even notice it initially. It just blends in with the rest of the scene. This looks like a very old candlestick, doesn't it? And obviously the candle's on the floor by the carpet, but I thought that was just like an extra candle. I mean, yeah, there's a candle on the floor, but I didn't notice that it was missing from the candlestick. I just thought it was an extra candle. The base looks too small. Surely it's very unstable. Looks to me like even the slightest knock would make it topple over. Oh dear, that'd be dangerous. Wait, take a closer look at this. There's one candle missing. Yes, I didn't notice that before. Why is that, I wonder? Why is one candle of the 3 missing from its holder?
Take that!
Bang! Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the candlestick. Most illuminating, my dear fellow, and of course, the only possible way out of this logical labyrinth. Yes, the remnants of a ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured are clearly visible. Indeed, they are. The scorch marks at the edge clearly give the truth away. Scorch marks? It would appear that this room was a scene of a little marital altercation. Can't talk. Oh. Mrs. Gardner's mighty arm muscles left an impression not only on her husband's face, but on the entire room. The force of her strike caused the candle to fall from the holder. And in seconds, the carpet was alight and the whole corner of the room was in flames. Yes, For the most ferocious beast in this world is neither a violent lion nor a vengeful woman, but fire. And in this room, that ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok. Eloquently put, my dear fellow. So you see, there is but one conclusion here. Yeah, there it is. After the sparks of marital discord flew, this room was the scene of a fire. Oh. Mr. Sholmes, sir. I salute you! What? I thought he just died. Carpet scorched by a small fire. Spontaneously died, huh? Deduction complete. Elementary. Get the water up, huh? These voices aren't too bad to do. Some of the other voices are fucking killer in my throat. It's these dashed lion winter nights, you know. Lion winter nights? Fuck me, long winter nights, you know. Nothing to do but read in front of the fire. Luckily, there's a jolly good second-hand bookshop just around the corner. Buy all my old novels there. And in the pages of one particular novel, you discovered some rather illicit material. For which your wife almost admonished you harshly, it seemed. Don't know about admonished. Demolished might be more rather closer to the mark. And beast is most certainly an apt just. Here we go again. And the carpet? Was that destroyed by fire when a candle fell on the floor? Afraid to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bolly thing. I was caught between the old stick's rage and the raging flames. You paint a torrid picture, sir. One thing that would have been the most entertaining. That's sympathy for you. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bolly furniture started going up as well. We've had to hide the mess behind that screen for the time being. We never got to look behind there. Over here, Mr. Gardeb? Well, you have nothing more to hide now, if you'll allow me. Oh yeah, oof. Had all my favorite old novels in that case. But as soon as the fire got hold of them, that was it. Whoosh! Up in smoke. Gosh. Then the wife started hurling things at me. What a terrible sight it must have been. That was I. Back up against the window, under heavy enemy fire. Incendiary books coming 10 to the dozen. Worst of it is, I lost my favorite, book called The Lion's Pride. The Lion's Pride. Ah yes, your notorious love of big cats coming through once again. I assure you, the title didn't influence my choice in the slightest. But the poor man really did lose something dear to him as a result of the ferocious beast's rampage. Mr. Sholmes' deductions turned out to be correct once again. It can only be described as a great British wonder. After I fucking helped, I tell you, it was total carnage. Flames everywhere and the old stick fell in full fettle. Out of interest, what time of day was that? Not sure, I can't remember. It was 2 days ago now. Let's see. Around 5 o'clock, I think. So at exactly the same time as a terrifying incident was unfolding outside your window at the street below. Even more terrifying on the inside, I can assure you. The whole of Blighty could have been flattened outside my window at that moment, and I wouldn't have noticed a dashed thing. He's getting fucking abused, time? Oh, really? He's drinking his tea. Oh, it actually says Joan now instead of maid. Mr. Sholmes? Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. What can I do for you? Well, I think we've got to get to the bottom of Mr. Garreb's situation now. What does it have to do with Mr. Natsume's circumstances? I can't help you there, I'm afraid. What? My dear fellow, if you recall, I did say as much from the outset. I warned you that although I knew the retired army man to be hiding something, I could not be sure whether his secret would prove to be of relevance or not. I just knew you were going to say that. Ha 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 ha. Now, Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't lose heart. Bear in mind that all things fall into one of only two categories, those relevant to the case and those not. That makes no sense to me. Well, no matter. It is of far greater importance that you make up your mind now. Sorry? Visiting hours at the prison will soon be over. Oh no. Is it that time already? If we're to accept Mr. Natsume's case, we have official paperwork to attend to. So that's it. No more time to think. Perhaps you'd like to betake yourselves to bidding us farewell now. I must prepare supper for Mr. Garredeb. Oh yes. I'm so sorry. Thank you both very much for your time. Soseki-san will be waiting for us. I'm going to have to give him an answer. Time to go, I guess. Nope, not Sholmes' suite. Oh. Into the February Briar Road. I didn't mean to go here. It's time, Mr. Naruhodo. We must hurry back to the prison. Yes, I know. Let's hail a Oh. What's the matter? Looks like something's going on over there in front of the Garredeb's household. Huh? What's going on? Jesus fucking hell, who's this thing? Time to judge the English pog. I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers.
Here you go then, old man, you rum-looking nimmy-piminy.
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy.
Who's this Horatio fellow, eh? What you on about?
Excuse me?
Hey, what the? Who are you now?
I'm sorry, it just looked as though there might be some problem here. My associate here, Mr. Inosuke Naruhodo, is a lawyer, you see.
Hey, a lawyer? What?
If I can be of any assistance, I'd be happy to help. I'm from Japan, but I have studied English law.
Fine, I'll be on my way for today, but you mark my words. This ain't over yet.
Get thee to a nunnery.
Don't look like a bloomin' nun to you.
What the fuck's going on? What have I stumbled across? I do hope you're not injured. Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so gentle, thank you. What was that all about? There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. I'm not Horatio either. Forgive the inquiry, sir, but are you a lodger here? In the Garredeb residence? Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so right. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode. Mr. Garda mentioned they had another lodger, didn't he? Ah, yeah, on the bottom floor. Bottom floor, then our guy, then them at the top. This must be the man. Do you happen to know the other lodger who lives on the first floor? Ah, yes. A gentleman named Natsume. Oh, more worthy of columnist in my battle of words ne'er could there be. Sorry, battle did you say? Who is the stronger, Hamlet or Macbeth? Mr. Natsume sparred long into the night. I see. I don't fully understand, but it seems Mr. Natsume and this gentleman are acquaintances at least. So fair maiden, so good gentleman, I can tarry here no longer. Fare thee well. Alright. I didn't really understand him, but I think he's returned to his room. Seems he's unaware of what happened. Oh, seems he's unaware of what happened to Mr. Natsume, so he can't really help us. With Soseki-san and that man as lodgers, the Gardeb house is certainly full of eccentrics. Anyway, I'll go and find a carriage. Yes, I'm sure Mr. Natsume is eagerly awaiting our return. Let's hope we can get to the prison before visiting hours are over. What a weird batch of folks. 19th of February, 6:31 PM, local prison, cell 9. Oh, Christ almighty.
Oh, it's you! You're here! You came! Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
Fucking God. What? That's fucking Trinity Pennywise, huh?
I can't believe you came back! I'm so touched!
We're so sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Natsume.
Oh no, think nothing of it. Relax. If I were a cat, I would purr with pleasure at the company of such fine compatriots. Noble, nurturing, never failing Nipponese.
Oh no, let's not get carried away. Oh, I quite agree. Who's us? He's a weeb. Yeah, he is. He's from Japan. He's Japanese himself. He's a student from Japan who came to England by the Japanese government to study the English language, and he's been arrested as the suspect in this murder. So he is actually Japanese. There's nothing more reassuring than the familiarity of one's native land. Right, who's talking, hey? Right, chat, put down money. Is it Mr. Gardeb, Joan Gardeb, Baron von Zieks, Sholmes, Iris? Von Zieks is my guess too. Yeah, I think it's Von Zieks. The clown guy or the guy with the big chin? Who are we thinking, huh? My money is on Baron von Zieks. Or it could also be the constable, the guy who likes the chips. My money on the table is Baron von Zieks. Emmy seems to be Baron von Zieks as well, if you mean the opposition, which is the prosecutor in our case. Noodle, money on the table. We need to answer now, how before we can flip it over and someone can gloat. Huh? Who do you think? It could also be a new character. Van Zieks. On the other hand... Nope, it's Sherlock. It is through friendship transcending international borders that only one truly appreciates the fact. Such is my belief, at least. Oh.
Oh, it's yes. It's you. The miserable, rotten spy, Sherlock Sholmes.
Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing here? I have no intention of doing anything per se. Save observing, of course. My mind went observation, then it was observing, my mind went bleh. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Well, having encountered some curious reading material in that gloomful room, and having unmasked the secret identity of that eccentric pair, I decided I should drop in on my way home to see how our divested friend is faring. Observer thing? Yeah. It's when your brain starts auto-filling it and has to go back on itself, you know?
Gloomful room.
At least your accommodation here offers a window, my dear fellow. In that sense, it is a superior option. Anyways, I must commend you on your taste in books. My day has been a delight. It cost me not a penny.
Oh, you! How dare you! Sherlock Sholmes!
So Sherlock's accusation is what? So the cops came to Sholmes to determine who the man was that fled the crime scene, and it was Sherlock's saying it was this guy that put him in prison. That's why he's so mad.
I've had it. I'm through. I'm at the end of my rope. I should never have come to Great Britain.
It was a terrible mistake. Yeah, true, yeah.
Haunted by spirits in those accursed lodgings. No doubt my luck will be cursed in tomorrow's trial as well. My whole life is bedamned.
What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? He mentioned that once before, didn't he? That his lodgings were cursed, I mean. And there is much truth in Mr. Mustache's words. What? Curse is a wholly appropriate description, I would say, for the man's lodgings. And indeed, for tomorrow's trial. What's that supposed to mean?
Oh, like Scoob. The room's cursed. Oh. Yeah.
Where's Scooby, huh? Where is Scooby? Is he safe? Is he alright? Scooby's the cat, actually. The cat that was in the room, huh? That's Scooby.
Oh, if I can hold my voice here, I can do a voice.
And there goes fucking Mickey Mouse, huh?
Oh, well, I'm in the trial.
Awful, huh? I've never settled on a voice for this guy. My voice goes like way down here.
You fucking idiots! You got me accused! Now I'm being fucking sent to die!
Ugh. Mr. Natsume, what did you mean when you said, about what you just said now? About the trial tomorrow being cursed?
Oh no, why are you looking so grave? You're making me nervous. I was just getting carried away, that's all. I didn't mean anything by it.
Oh, I see. That's really agitated him.
You don't mean the trial really is cursed somehow?
Say nothing, Sholmes, huh? Fucking say nothing, huh? Are you referring to the prosecutor? The Reaper of the Bailey?
The Reaper? Oh no, what do you mean? Please, tell me, summarize it succinctly in 16 salient words.
No defendant has ever survived in a trial in which the Reaper stands for the prosecution. Ever.
Oh my goodness, can it be true? That was 16 words exactly.
Yesterday, Mr. Naruhodo successfully defended someone against the Reaper. But then, after the trial was over, the defendant passed away in unusual circumstances. Mr. McGilded.
What?
He burned. Man got fucking roasted. Ah, I'm impressed, Mrs. Sato. You have an eye for detail. Actually, the Lord Chief Justice told us. Mr. Sholmes. Surely it can't be that having failed to have the accused convicted, Lord Van Zieks killed the man himself? Oh no, he couldn't have, surely? Ah, you would have some wonderful notions. Oh, Van Zieks' music is playing. Sorry? The man isn't a mass murderer, he's a court... Ooh, fuck. He's a court prosecutor, my dear fellow. Oh, yes. Why, of course he is.
Oh, of course he is. Then why are you trying to scare me?
It could be said, however, that the real truth about the man is even more terrifying than your hypothesis. What on earth do you mean by that? The Reaper. Van Zieks is quite an exceptional man. However, in London courts of law, exceptional does not equate to winning every case without exception.
Oh, that's good.
Joseki-san looks like he's going to cry tears of joy. As you are no doubt aware, in a British criminal trial, there is both a judge and a jury. The judge officiates based on the letter of the law, whilst the jury offers public opinion and common sense. It is an excellent system, whereby the defendant's guilt is considered from several points of view. However, public opinion in particular is somewhat easily manipulated. Right. Criminals, and corrupt lawyers for that matter, can use it to their advantage. By any means at their disposal, contriving evidence, calling impostors as witnesses. and so on. By such underhand means, those who would want to are able to sway the jury. Which means that even in light of irrefutable evidence, the prosecution can fail. But it means the wrong verdict can be passed. And sadly, from time to time, my dear madam, it's simply the reality of the situation. And that's alright. However, those indicted by Lords Van Zieks cannot escape justice. Their fate is sealed. Oh my. Though the education may see them leave the courtroom with their freedom, within months, they all disappear. It is most striking.
Disappear? But how?
Ah, by all manner of misfortune, sir. Perhaps they are trampled under a passing carriage. Perhaps they fall into the Thames and drown. Perhaps they are suddenly overcome by a raging fever, or perhaps attacked by highwaymen.
Oh, no.
Jesus. All examples of the reality of events here in London, I'm afraid, Mr. Naruhodo.
I knew it. I'm dead. Dodo. Done for. Doomed.
Poor lad, hey? It's not looking good, hey? When you said a cursed lodgings before, you were referring to your room at Mr. Regardev's house, I assume? Do you mean to say you believe the place is cursed?
It's been a year now since I came to Great Britain, but I've only been in London a week before I started to notice strange feelings in myself.
That didn't take long then.
Everywhere I looked, there were foreign faces staring at me, laughing behind my back. I was sure people were talking about me. I started to become nervous about going outside. They were always staring at me all the time, from dusk till dawn. So I shut myself away in my room, but even that didn't help. The fear wouldn't go away.
I feel that time. You must have been very lonely, having been away from your homeland for such a long time.
I've had to move a number of times, most recently to that room on Briar Road, a week ago now.
Yes. Why did you choose there? It seems a little inconvenient.
The rent is cheap. I have so little money, it appealed to me straight away. Of course, I asked why it was so affordable. The landlord just simpered and said, "The room is cursed." Oops. He quickly tried to cover his mistake, but it was too late. So I told him, "If you have something to say, then say it. If not, don't mention it in the first place."
Yes. Well said.
But it was true. It was all true.
You mean the room really is cursed then?
Ever since I moved into that windowless hellhole, my sleep has been plagued with nightmares. I awake feeling as though I'm being choked to death. In my waking hours, people are stabbed in front of me as I walk down the street. I'm branded a killer, thrown in prison. Nobody wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits.
Man's not having a good time. Bad days, huh?
If only there was someone, just one person on my side. No one.
I can't hold this voice for a while. I don't know what it is. Like,
Holding my voice down here.
eventually lose it very, very easily. This man needs a rebrand, I think. We could just give him like a. I want to give him a, like my sophisticated voice is Herlock's, or is Sholmes's. I don't want to fucking double up on that voice. Oh, I know. I know. Give me a second time. It's taking way too fucking long. I shouldn't have done this. This was a mistake. This was a mistake. Christ alive, why was it taking so fucking long? Right, let me see if I can change this. Yeah, we can, huh? Okay, I think you should still be able to hear me. Yeah, you can, okay. Don't worry about it. Alright. To believe. Yes. To believe. Per man, so. To believe. Mr. Sholmes? Ah, me, Mr. Naruhodo. Pray, what can I do for you? It's about the case on the SS Buria, if you recall. The Buria. The Buria. Ah, that case. The one with the snake. Well, yes. At the time I was a suspect, but you believed in me and listened to my side of the story. And you helped us to investigate. I did I? Interesting. What I want to know is, why? Why did you believe me? I see, yes. You mean... because you were a grimly dressed, shady Eastern fellow found with the victim in a locked room. Well, if you like, yes. I'm a little surprised that the answer requires explanation, my dear fellow. It's quite simple, really. You said, I didn't do it. But I could have been lying. Surely you must have had your doubts. You must have suspected me a little. I think perhaps you have misunderstood. I neither recall believing in you, nor in that which you were telling me. What? You see, the only things I believe in are those I choose to believe in. What? What do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? I make up my own mind about what is to be believed and what is not. If I should like to believe in something, I do. The circumstances can hang as far as I'm concerned. But I could have betrayed your trust. In that case, I should have made an elementary error of judgment, nothing more. Betrayal of trust is an overused excuse in my opinion. Meaning? Whether or not one should trust another is, in the final analysis, down to oneself. It is a matter of whether or not one can trust oneself.
Yes, he's right. He's right, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
Whether or not I can believe myself. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. You were so right, Kazuma. The big man Kazuma, huh? Well, my dear fellows, it is time we were leaving, I believe. Already? Visiting hours are over. The guard will be here shortly to escort us out. There is a restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me? Oh dear. There's never enough time, is there? Man's fucking mod checking, huh? Pain. Mr. Natsume? If you'd like, in the trial tomorrow, I'd be happy to represent you. There it is, huh? No, I'm not gonna do it. Look. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Just gonna get my stupid voice from now on now. Everything else too hard, huh? Bum, 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 bum. No, back to normal, huh? This man's gonna be talking too much, huh? Can't give him a too hard a voice, huh? As I said, I only experienced the British courtroom for the first time yesterday. And although the man I was representing was found not guilty, I lost sight of something crucial. Something crucial? Oh. Something crucial? What to believe in, the defendant, justice, or the truth. How to believe even. But I think I finally worked it out. I've decided I must believe in myself above all else, to trust my instincts. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. And my instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime. And it's imperative that we prove that in court. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I will fight for your innocence until the bitter end, with every weapon available to me. So I hope you'll permit me to represent you tomorrow. As I said when we first met, I like to entrust my fate to someone who will listen to me, in my native tongue. Of course, Mr. Natsume. Dumplings. Do it. It would be fair to say, Mr. Naruhodo, that your mind was, in many ways, made up from the outset. You merely needed the events of today to fully realize it. Yes, I think you're right about that. It's been a roundabout journey, but I got there in the end. Mr. Sato. Yes? Would you be willing to stand by my side tomorrow and help me in court? Absolutely. As I said this morning, you may consider me your personal judicial assistant. Sasato's really good. I really like her. The shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily on my mind. But it's time to stop looking backwards. Kazuma believed in me, and Mr. Shulmans believes in me now too. So it's time. Time that I learned to believe in myself. Soseki-san has no one. He's all alone. So it's my job to help him to fight his corner. Tomorrow, in the courtroom, with all the strength I can muster. We're going to free the man, say. Bump, bump, bump. We're actually going to flow into like a courtroom scene in the same adventure as a investigation scene. Because previously they've been separate. I assume this time, yeah, trial part 1, episode 4. Okay. Let's go. Back to the Old Bailey. 20th of February, 9:23 AM. The Old Bailey. Defendant's antechamber. Well, I never expected this. Who'd have thought we'd be back here again so soon? We are on a study tour of Great Britain with the intention of learning the country's legal practices. In order to research the latest court procedures here, we need as much court experience as possible. Well, yes, I suppose that's true, but for the person in the dock, it may well be his or her one and only time in court, and could be life-changing. In which case, treating it as research may seem a little crass. Oh, when you put it like that, you're quite right. Good morning! That's probably the guy, right? Yep. Ah, Mr. Natsume. Good morning. Oh dear. Are you alright? Your eyes are terribly bloodshot. The early bird catches the worm, as they say here in Britain. Oh god, his eyes do look terrible. They look like mine. Yes, I've heard that expression. But I really don't want to catch a worm. So I tried desperately not to wake up early, but I was so worried I couldn't catch a wink. And now I'm absolutely exhausted as a result. Do all literary people take things so literally? Thank you for putting your faith in us today, Mr. Natsume. I wish I had 9 lives. My whole future hangs in the balance. I'm too terrified to tremble. Really? Because I can feel tremors on the floor. I can't do this. I can't take it. Although, look, I'm student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Yes? I caught a glimpse of the public gallery as I walked by the courtroom. It looked like the opening night of the opera. There were so many people. I had no idea my case was a notorious affair here in London. Oh, neither did I. Do you know why that might be, Mr. Sato? I'm sorry, Mr. Naruhodo, but I have no idea. So that all-knowing look on your face is just coincidence then, is it? Don't hide the truth from me! It's because of the Reaper, isn't it? Lord Van Zieks? Is that right, Mr. Sato? They want to see the man's at work, huh? I purchased as many different newspapers as I could to find this morning, and yes, Lord Van Zieks is on the front page of every one. I knew it. Sometimes after the prosecutor was dubbed the Reaper of the Bailey, he stopped appearing in court, it seems. It's been several years now, in fact, until the day before yesterday. Yes, Inspector Gregson told us something similar, didn't he? Oh, it's just Lord Van Zieks again, okay. The trial 2 days ago marked Lord Van Zieks' return to the courtroom after a very long hiatus. The trial of Magnus McGilded. Ugh, what a harrowing experience that was. That man got fucking roasted, huh? I believe that appearance made even greater waves here in the capital than today's. But we wouldn't have realised, of course, having only just arrived in the country. Why is the Reaper back in the Bailey so soon, for what appears to be a mundane murder? That's the question the papers are asking, and they are all speculating various answers. Mundane? Mundane? Yet the most significant saga of the century to some of us. Oh dear, I mean no offence, Mr. Natsume, but that is how the papers are describing it. Well, lest we also forget the fact that it could spark an international incident. Obviously, the reappearance of this infamous prosecutor has caught people's attention. But there's another blatant similarity with the trial of 2 days ago. Yes, I agree. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. It's you. Me? Well, I suppose that's true. Both times, it is you who stands against this legendary prosecutor. It can only mean that you're friends with the Reaper. Please, and I rub shoulders with Deathbringers. I'm afraid that there's really only one other explanation. It can only be another example, Mr. Naruhodo, of your uncommon bad luck. Thanks for that. Oh, this is just my luck. Why must I be represented by a man with such frail fortune? By the least lucky lawyer alive. Well, let's not forget that it was you, Mr. Natsume, who asked me to represent you. Yes, it's true that I'm just a student new to London, with little in the way of experience or skills, or luck. But I promise you this. I will fight your corner until the bitter end, and I will believe in Mr. Natsume.
Oh, benevolent locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
You're not alone here with us, Mr. Natsume. Whatever happens, we will always be on your side.
Oh, benevolent non-locum assistant, Miss Mikutaba Esquire S. I'm in your debt forever. I shall never forget this great kindness for as long as I live.
Mr. Natsume, counsel for the defense. The court session is about to begin. Kindly make your way into the courtroom at once. Let's go. Alright then, Mr. Natsume, it's time. Let's go.
Yeah. Yes!
Let's go, huh? I wonder if we're going to have the same jury or if it's like a whole new jury. This is it. My second appearance in a British courtroom. And my second trial against the Reaper. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because this time, I won't let my faith waver. I'll believe in my client to the last. Just like you believed in me. I believe I can do this now. I'm ready for this fight. Here we go, huh? '20th of February, 10 AM. The Old Bailey courtroom. It's a new jury. Hey, Jones there.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed.
And fucking the maid Joan is in the jury. She's in the jury. The prosecution is fully prepared, my lord. The defense is ready, my lord. The Nipponese are a truly fascinating breed. Sorry, what? Lord Strongheart has told me all about you. That you are a student who arrived in London but 2 days ago, a mere amateur. Do you have a point? Being a compatriot, you feel compelled to try to help the accused, I suppose. Typical Nipponese arrogance. Forgive me, but I do not believe arrogance is an appropriate description. Says Haru-san. After all, at our previous encounter, the defendant was found to be innocent. Very true. And a most fascinating, if dark, trial it was too. The tragic conclusion came later, of course. Here's to the acquitted and his unfortunate violent end. Yeah, look, there's Joan right in the middle. Hey, the guy on the left is from the previous trial. It's the fucking, the guy who's on top of the carriage during the last one. Why is he in the fucking... He was accused, eh? Can he be on the jury?
Thank you, counsels. I see both sides are in fine fettle. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are you ready to carry out your duties here in court as impartial members of the public?
See, this guy.
You never know what you might be down on your luck.
I can't remember this fucking voice, eh?
But I believe in fair play for everyone.
It was something like that, right? They don't want to make new models. And it's also that, and it's also like continuity with the world. She's new though. Well, I must warn you, I'm rather more ruthless than I appear. Oh well, not me. What you see is what you get. I'm a peace-loving fellow.
I'm afraid to say, I think it's quite possible that Mustache Foreign did the deed.
Come on, what are we waiting for? No doubt he did it anyway.
Sorry, didn't quite catch that.
The maid's in the jury. Yeah.
Very well, let us proceed. Your opening statement, if you please, Lord Van Zix.
Very recently, Great Britain signed an alliance with the rising power in the Far East. The accused in the dock today is a student from that same land, a certain Mr. Soseki Natsume. And while our country has extended this foreign student the warmest of welcomes, regrettably, the kindness has not been returned. In fact, this student is accused of a most sinister act. are plunging a knife into the back of an innocent woman who was doing nothing but walking down the street.
A knife crime? I tell you from bitter experience, those are the worst. Bloody oath they are.
Just look at the sallow, complex and short stature. He's one of those dreadful Japanese.
Come on, let's get this over with. With me now, everyone. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, sorry, didn't quite catch that.
Pray, forgive the discourtesy of smashing my hallowed chalice here in this great chamber. Allow me to call the first witness to the stand.
Very well. Bailiff, lead the inspector in, please.
Oh, it's Inspector Chipsman, okay. Oh, fuck me, I forget how these guys talk. Your name and occupation, please.
Yes, sir. Elmias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard.
Would you please summarize the events of the case for the court, Inspector?
The victim is thought to be a young woman in her 20s by the name of Olive Green.
I beg your pardon, Inspector. Thought to be?
Yes, having been stabbed in the back by her attacker's knife, the victim fell unconscious. That was 3 days ago now, and she's been comatose ever since.
What? So they don't even know who she is for sure?
Comatose, I see. But her life was not in danger.
Fortunately for the Eastern student, the charge will not be murder. Pray, elaborate on the details, Inspector.
Sir, if I could ask everyone to look at this street map.
That's the one we were given, right? Yeah.
As I mentioned, the incident took place 3 days ago, at around 5 in the afternoon. It happened on the pavement running alongside Briar Road, a wide thoroughfare for horse-drawn vehicles. It had not long since stopped snowing as the victim, Miss Green, was walking down the street. Out of the blue, she was approached from behind by the accused and stabbed in the back. Luckily, the young lady's life was spared, and she's currently being treated in one of the city's hospitals. For being unconscious as she is, we've been unable to take a statement from her, of course. This is the case file with everything we know about the victim so far.
Thank you, Inspector. The court will now accept the documents as evidence, if you please.
A file containing an overview of the case and details about the victim. She was found with a knife on her back and is currently in hospital yet to regain consciousness. What of the weapon that was used?
Sir, I have that here. It was removed from the victim's back.
Ah, that big thing is starting to make me scared to walk down the street now. With a heavy blade like that, almost anybody would have been able to stab the poor woman. Even the scragged looking Suzuki-san, I suppose.
A common or garden jackknife, I would say, rather nondescript. Thank you, Inspector. The court accepts the blade as evidence.
Jackknife, a large but commonplace folding knife that was found lodged in the victim's back.
Now then, what do we know of the motive? Money or valuables, I presume?
From what we didn't tell by looking at the woman's possessions, it seemed like she's a poor student herself. Hard to imagine she would have been at anything much worth pinching, my lord.
I see. Well, in that case, are we looking at some deep-seated resentment toward the victim?
I'm afraid I couldn't say. Apart from visiting second-hand bookshops, the defendant, Mr. Natsume, doesn't appear to get out much. At this moment in time, we haven't been able to establish any sort of connection between him and the victim.
Yes!
If theft and grievance have been ruled out as the motive, what reason could Mr. Natsume possibly have had for stabbing the young woman? Yet you arrested the man in spite. You arrested the man in spite of that, in a total unjustified and heavy-handed way. I feel like I missed half of the story. Brain's just been going for the last bit. Oof. Since when? Since we entered the court, or since before that?
Objection!
Uh-oh. Oh god. Pray, forgive the discourtesy of flinging a freshly uncorked bottle into the public gallery. But your words have soured its hallowed bouquet. For it is you, my learned friend, who is being heavy-handed here. What? Second, Scotland Yard does not arrest people without good cause. That should be beyond question. Inspector Gregson, the prosecution calls for your formal testimony. Explain to the court precisely why the constabulary came to arrest the Nipponese student.
Yes, sir.
It's gonna be fucking chaos whenever we get Herlock, or we get the fucking Sholmes into the court. Mr. Natsume's arrest.
As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred.
And there was unusually light fog. I should probably look at the court record, actually. Details. Young woman rendered unconscious following a stab wound to the back. Victim, olive green, female, stout build, early 20s. Location, pavement of Briar Road, east side. Reporting officer, Rolly Bita. The victim remains unconscious. Her name was gleaned from her personal effects. Other details are unknown. Apart from the single stab wound from the large knife, no other signs of injury were observed. The assailant was seen running away by the reporting officer and was successfully arrested the following day. Flick the blade out. Yeah, there we go. There's nothing really like particularly interesting about the knife itself that I can see. Just like the blade falls out. That's really it.
Visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one else but the victim and the accused. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed on the pavement. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor. Those being a number of old books he just brought. He was on his way home from a bookshop, it seems. It was just a matter of working out who the books belonged to, and we found the bloke to arrest him.
Old books, you say?
Yes, my lord. I have a photograph here of the scene of the crime taken immediately after the incident.
Tumble time.
Oh yes, I can clearly see the books to which you are referring. I will take that photographic print as evidence, please, Inspector.
Photograph of the scene taken by a policeman just after the incident occurred. A large knife can be seen thrust into the victim's back. You Nipponese are a spineless breed, too cowardly to admit defeat. Denying everything despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Well, forgive me, Lord Van Zieks, but the defendant is not denying everything, as you put it. What are you doing, Mr. Sato?
Do go on.
Mr. Natsume has admitted to playing some part in the incident. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, now you mention it. When we visited him in the prison yesterday, he did tell us what had all happened. As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman wearing a green overcoat she was, and just as I went to overtake her, boom. She suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet. I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran as fast as my legs would carry me back to my accursed lodgings.
A green overcoat.
Well, that's exactly what the woman in that print is wearing.
Oh my, a photographic print in full color. What will the world come up with next?
The defendant has done nothing more than admit he fled the scene of a terrifying incident. That does not mean that he's guilty of the heinous crime of stabbing the woman in the back. There was nobody else there at the time, just the two of them, the victim and the accused. In other words, there is nobody else who could possibly have stabbed the woman. In fact, that the accused concedes.
It seems this cross-examination could prove to be pivotal, counsel. Proceed, please.
Yes, my lord. Nothing for it. I have to use this cross-examination to turn the tables here. It's our only chance. Let's go. And he pressed the inspector. Mr. Natsume's arrest. Okay. There was unusually light fog. Okay. Visibility was reasonably good and there was no one else about but the victim and the accused. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed on the pavement. Let's look at the photo and see if there's anything we can glean about it. I wonder if any of these is the book that Moonman lost. Mr. Gada, whatever his name is. The guy with the moon face. Joan's wife. Joan's husband, sorry. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor. Those being a number of old books he just bought. He was on his way home from a bookshop, it seems. It seems? The defendant apparently visits a second-hand bookshop on a daily basis.
Yes, though I understand. A shop full of old English literature.
I commend the accused on the lofty subject matter of his scholarly attention.
The bloke room was stacked floor to ceiling with those musty old books.
Can you tell us more about the bookshop in question, please, Inspector?
Well, if I must, I'll have to ask you to look at the street map again, I'm afraid. The closest second-hand bookshop to the accused lodgings is this place here, Bourbon Books.
Gardav. Yeah, Gardav, I think that's what it does.
A little place on the corner of Briar Road and Meerschaum Street. As it happens, the accused is currently living in lodgings on the other side of Briar Road, at the opposite end. Which means it doesn't take a genius to work out the route he would have taken home. Something like this.
The local maps information has been updated. Nice. Information.
Yes, I concur with your conclusion, Inspector. The defendant would certainly have passed the scene of the crime on his way home from that particular shop.
Mr. Naruhodo, I think that what the inspector just told us could turn out to be of vital importance. Yes, I agree. The most important point that the inspector just made being... Ah, Mr. Natsume did not go to that bookshop. He went to a different bookshop. He went to your books, not Bourbon Books. I knew there was something about this fucking card. The bookshop's name is the most important part. Inspector Gregson, may I ask you a favor?
What?
Will you kindly add the name of the bookshop to your formal testimony, please? I believe it may be of vital importance.
Maybe.
Oh, well, you know. I mean, yes, it could be a very important clue.
Very well. Not that I can see it being of any great significance. But please revise your testimony accordingly, Inspector. Yes, sir, my lord. Whatever you say.
Could the man be any more sardonic?
He was on his way home from Bourbon Books, a second-hand bookshop he apparently patronizes.
False. That's a falsity, sir.
Objection!
Haha. If I could just stop you there, Inspector Gregson.
What is it, Sunshine? I'm a busy man, you know.
This is a receipt that we found in Mr. Natsume's room. It was issued on the day of the incident, and details the purchase of 3 second-hand books.
And you found that in the accuser's room, did you?
Yes, but the point is not where the receipt was found, but the name of the shop printed on it.
Go on.
This receipt was issued from a bookshop called Your Books.
Your books? Why, O-R-E, I presume?
Yes, my lord. So Mr. Natsume did indeed purchase a number of books at a second-hand bookshop that day. However, the bookshop in question was not Bourbon Books.
Eh? What? Inspector, do you know of this other bookshop? Yes, sir. Your Books is another second-hand bookshop not far from Bourbon Books. It's just that... Well, it's such a small place, I didn't think that the accused would have known about it.
Objection!
But in fact, it is the bookshop which the defendant visited on the day in question. And this receipt proves it.
Objection!
Yes, for what difference it makes. Wherever the man purchased his musty tome, it makes no difference in the final analysis.
Objection!
I disagree. I mean, after all, I have a street map here if that may be of help. Oh, yes, thank you. Have a look at this, please. If the defendant had been returning from Bourbon Books, then yes, he would almost certainly have passed the place where Miss Green was attacked. However, if we take into account the fact that he was actually at another bookshop, Your Books, it may very well turn out that he wouldn't have passed that location at all.
Could that be true?
My, it rather depends on where this other bookshop is, but I do declare it may be a possibility. Is that right, Mr. Lawyer, sir, what you just said? Absolutely, it absolutely could be right. Mobile time.
Inspector Gregson, where is this Your Books establishment? Well, obviously we looked into that. It turns out that Your Books is just here on the next corner of Meerschaum Street going east.
So he very easily could have gone down the right side of the map and come down along the bottom, instead of going across the top. And there you have it, as you can clearly see now. Oh. No, He still could have gone the other way, Natsume Rinosuke. My learned Nipponese friend is obviously in training to be a clown, the way he regales us with such witticisms. To your future career in the circus. You put that glass down now, or I'll put it down for you.
I didn't think I needed to spell it out, but here we go. If the accused was coming home from your books instead of bourbon books.
Oh, we could have gone around the other way, though.
There's no doubt he still would have passed the place where the victim was stabbed.
Why can't you just not go the other way?
Yes, thank you, Inspector.
Allow me to reiterate for my learned, if somewhat slow Nipponese friend. Wherever the man purchases musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis. Damn. It ain't looking good, man.
As expected, you can't fool me. I don't suggest you try. What did I say, eh? I've had enough of this now.
Beg your pardon? Terribly sorry, but would you mind repeating that?
Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't give up. What do you mean? If the prosecution's assertion is correct, the members of the jury may very well decide that Mr. Natsume is guilty. She's absolutely right. We must consider the assertion just put forward by the prosecution very, very carefully. He claims Sasaki-san must have passed the location of the incident on his way home from your books, but... You can just go the other way. What do you mean? The assertion just made by the prosecution is fundamentally flawed.
Explain yourself, counsel.
Yes, my lord. You can see what I mean on this map. Just go the other way, forehead. When returning from your books to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume could have followed the route suggested by the prosecution. However, that isn't the only conceivable route to take between the two places. Thank you. There we go. Just go the other way, yeah. If the defendant used these streets, look what happens. He arrives back at his lodgings without passing the location where the victim was attacked.
Objection!
Talking back to a clown is a fool's errand, of course. However, I feel compelled to point out that that route is what is commonly referred to as the long way round. On a cold winter's night, why would any man choose to take a longer route home? Well, the answer is extremely simple. He wouldn't. In other words, the accused took the obvious route back to his lodgings and is the obvious perpetrator of this crime. Sorry, there's like fluff in my room or something.
Objection!
Make my nose itch. Hi, yes, I've got it. Obviously, you must ask the man himself. Ask Mr. Natsume which route he took home. I have already informed the court of the accused in response to such questioning. He claims he has no recollection.
That's right. As I said, the bloke seems to spend his time outside wandering aimlessly from A to B. That day was no exception. He says he doesn't remember where he was or which route he took home.
Shit. I don't believe this. Ugh. I thank you, my learned friend. I suggest that we do not waste any more of the court's time by wandering aimlessly around this subject. Pray, what say you insightful jurors? Uh-oh. But even if that is the case, the defense still... Oh.
I agree with Lord Van Zieks, wholeheartedly and in every way.
Where's this wee sticker he chews on, hey? What? I don't believe it. Does this mean...
We members of the jury are completely convinced now. Very well, in that case, I hereby call upon all members of the jury to present your findings to the court. Guilty!
Guilty. 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 Guilty.
Guilty.
They speak. Uh-oh. Well, shit.
It would appear the jury's leaning is unanimous.
They all got voices, I know. To the insightful members of the jury, I applaud your brave resolve. You serve Queen and country admirably. I don't remember them though. It's like there's a single word for each, eh? Mr. Naruhodo. No, not yet. This isn't over yet. I still have one last chance to sway the opinion of the jury. Put them against each other. Let's go! I have to tip the balance of those scales the other way. I have to turn this around. Somehow. Those are the eyes of Quarry not yet willing to give up and die. So I presume you intend to wield your rights again in this trial. Rights of the defense written into an antiquated British law that should have been buried long ago. Call it antiquated if you will, but it's the defense's prerogative to carry out a summation examination if it so chooses.
Very well, counsel. In accordance with the letter of the law, we shall proceed with the summation examination. Are the members of the jury ready, Mr. Foreman?
Yeah, Mr. Foreman was his name.
Of course we're ready. I'm all too familiar with that Nipponese whippersnapper and his uncle's refusal to throw in his alley.
I remember you shit time.
Very well then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty.
Let's go. Start putting them against each other. Judicial findings. The jurors' contentions.
For pity's sake, that little Nipponese oddity already admitted himself, didn't he?
If he said that a woman in green collapsed before his eyes, well, it can only have been the victim. The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop, not in winter. So the poor woman was attacked from behind, was she? How dreadful.
I really don't care. Can we just wrap this up now? I've got work to be doing.
Your books, yes. Nice shop that, but bourbon books, no, not worth a visit.
What are these useless fucking excuses?
With only minor exceptions, the reasons for finding the defendant guilty are all too clear.
When the stabbing occurred, the only two people at the scene were the victim and the accused. And the accuser himself has admitted to seeing the victim in her green overcoat sink to the ground before his eyes.
Furthermore, we have learned from the inspector that the defendant has fled the scene. I must say, I would have ample grounds to convict this man already.
Oh dear. Even the judge appears convinced of Mr. Natsume's guilt now. Ah, why do you have to run away like that? And how are we supposed to believe in some phantom attacker that no one can see? This is impossible. How can I possibly make a case for the defense? Mr. Naruhodo, this is no time for grumbling. If we want to force the trial to continue... Yes, I know. I have to turn the tide. I must make the jurors change their minds. Well, 4 of them at least. Exactly. We have no choice but to forge forward. Fucking talk again, huh?
You have the floor, counsel. Begin your summation examination.
Yes, my lord. Just need to keep this trial going somehow. Whatever it takes. Come on, Ryunosuke. You can do it. Let's go. Jury examination. The defense's rebuttal. So he's saying that he admitted it. So this is because he admitted it. This is that the victims, so it's like he said that he saw a girl in green. He said he wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop, not in winter. One was attacked from behind. He doesn't give a fuck. What's this guy?
Hold
it! Sorry! Fold it, you say? Fold what?
No. What I said was, hold it. What I wanted to ask was, do you visit your books often? He's just crying about the bookshop, huh?
I like the old books they have in there, yes. I enjoy reading them over a nice cup of old tea. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're talking about.
And at what time did you visit your books on the day in question?
Well, I was picking up books in there all afternoon, and it would happen to have been just before 5 that I left. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about.
Just before 5, you say? Exactly when the victim was attacked. Are you sure about the time?
Oh yes, no mistake there. I remember it well. I'm not about to forget that day in a hurry. Not after the dreadful time I had.
Oh? What do you mean?
Well, I was walking down Calabash Road when I slipped on the ice and dumped my head.
It's always worse after the snow stopped falling. That's when it's most slippery. Knocked myself out, clean out, I did. I really thought my number was up.
Wait a minute, let me get this straight. This happened on Calabash Road? So did she slip as well then? She slipped on a knife?
That's right, I live in Cornpipe, you see. Heading down Calabash Road is the quickest way for me to get back from your books.
Do you remember number 6? I must insist that you add that information to your formal statement. It may very well be extremely significant.
Huh? Sorry? Extremely sick? No, I'm quite alright now.
It sends a shiver down my spine to hear the members of the jury so convinced of Mr. Natsume's guilt. But I can't help feeling that some of their opinions are rather subjective. I agree, it's their irrelevance of what some of them are saying that sends a shiver down my spine. One guy doesn't give a fuck. One guy's just talking about the bookshop, you know. Still, at least some of their assertions don't actually incriminate Mr. Natsume of anything. That's something. You must use it to your advantage, Mr. Natsume. Cunningly! Yes, you're right. Let's listen to the jurors again, carefully. And if any of their assertions are at odds, I'll put them mercilessly against each other. Yes, don't hold back. Put them against each other. I'm going to push the guy at the end, the second last guy. This guy. I really don't care.
Hold it!
What do you mean? A man's life is on the line here, sir. This will take as long as it takes.
Don't get clever with me, son. My life's on the line too, and so is my family's. The likes of you wouldn't understand, but a labourer like me can't afford to take time off.
It's fucking jury service, though. It's not fucking taking time off. Fine, that's about like. Oh, I got messages there. Never mind. Twitch subscriptions coming out.
If I don't work, I don't eat, and neither do the wife and kids.
Oh, I see. That must be very hard.
I go to the union every morning to find out what he's doing. If you're late and the work's taken, it's tough. This time of year, there's water and gas supply pipes bursting left, right, and centre. They're after cheap labour to get the roads dug up to fix it. It's a hard slog from dawn till dusk it is.
So, you were out digging up the roads on the day of the incident as well, were you?
That's right. In fact, if I remember rightly, it was just round the corner from where it all happened. By that old bookshop it was.
What? Another coincidence?
That's right. Meerschaum Street it was.
Meerschaum Street. On the map, Mr. Naruhodo, there are only 3 named streets. Meerschaum Street's at the top. Juror number 5, I need you to add that information to your formal statement, please.
What's the point in that? Can't we just get this business over with now?
Please, sir. It's important.
Fine, I'll do it then.
Yeah, Meerschaum Street is the top, Briar Road, and then Calabash Road is the one over here, where the old guy fell. Okay, on the day it happened, I was digging up Meerschaum Street from dusk till dawn. I slept over that evening myself on Calabash Road. I knocked myself clean out, you know.
Hold it!
Why is that? But you can't deny that there are other routes Mr. Natsume could have taken back from your books. Oh yes, like you drew on the map, you mean? What was it? Calabash Road or something? Precisely. But it seems to me that what counts is whether the little Japanese fellow actually went that way or not. Well, yes, that's true. And at the moment, there's no proof that shows he did, is there? Well, yes, that's true as well. And as I understand it, the accused himself doesn't remember which way he went, does he? Well, yes, that's annoyingly true. Winter nights are dark and cold. The way I see it, you want to get home as quickly as possible. Well, yes. Why is all this true? So really, the only thing that makes sense is that he went home along Briar Road. Ah, I'm supposed to be convincing you here. I've given it a lot of thought, you know. I didn't just make up my mind on a whim that he did it. I mean, if there's some logical reasoning why I might have gone the Calabash Road way, it'd be different. I'd be happy to reconsider my position in that case. Honest, I would. A reason why Soseki-san might have taken the longer way home. Yes, a good reason. I don't imagine you'll be able to sway this young man's opinion without one. The fucking road is being dug up, hey? Pit this guy against this guy. I was digging up Meerschaum Street. The fucking road is being dug up, so we went the other way.
Objection!
There we go, huh? Those two statements are clearly at odds with one another.
At our counsel, explain yourself.
Please, don't point. It wasn't me, I swear.
Hey, what?
I just want this done and dusted. Well, juror number 3. Oh, me, sir? What do you mean? Juror number 5's words just now are extremely significant. Let's take a moment to consider the implications of what's been said on our map of the local area. On the day in question, Mr. Natsume visited this bookshop to purchase a number of second-hand books. And on the same day, we now know that there were works being carried out on Meerschaum Street, making it impassable, which means that the defendant's route home could not have taken him along Meerschaum Street and down Briar Road. Oh yes, of course. What do you think, sir? Well, yes, you can't argue with that really, can you? We must have had a good 2 yards or more of the pavement up. Every gentleman and gentlewoman that came along had to turn back and go the other way. There we go, huh? So the only conclusion is this. The defendant must have taken a longer route back to his lodgings. Yes, I suppose he must have. I suppose that must be right, eh? Juror number 3, you said the following. The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop. But we see now that he had no choice. Yes. Did we get one? My lord, Mr. Judge, sir, if I may.
Yes?
I don't think in all good conscience that I can say the man's guilty now. Yes, I'd like to see this trial continue so we can get to the bottom of what really happened. Yes, we got one. I wonder if we got the other guy as well. The guy who was digging up the road. What about you, sir?
Who, me? Well, alright then. If there's a hole in the prosecution's argument, it should be filled in, that's what I say.
Yes. We just need some more, and we can tip it. Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. That was wonderful. Well, we've managed to change a couple of minds at least. It's strengthened our position somewhat. Yes, and it will prompt the other members of the jury to reconsider their stance as well. They'll be asking themselves if their current leanings are really right or not. Now, if we could just identify one more clear discrepancy that would make them stop doubting Mr. Natsume, we might be able to tip the balance completely. Yes, that's exactly what we've got to do. Van Zieks is looking to bring this trial to an early conclusion. That's what we have to prevent, by whatever means we have at our disposal.
Thank you, counsel. On with the summation examination, please.
Yes, my lord. I'm assuming she fell. So Superman was attacked from behind, was she? How dreadful. What if I can put these two against her and say that she slipped?
Objection!
No, that doesn't work. Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
I'm sorry, but as foreman of the jury, I have to object. That's complete nonsense.
What?
I'm a banker, don't forget. An educated man, and there's no contradiction as far as I can see. Quite so, Mr. Foreman. I will not permit a whimsical attack against the good members of the jury, counsel.
Oof. My life points. There's nothing whimsical about it. It's very important to listen carefully to every juror, Mr. Naruhodo. Then you can decide where the contradictions really lie, if there are any. We need to start pressing some people. Press this lady. You're right that at the time of the incident, the defendant admits to having seen someone wearing a green overcoat walking ahead of him. Well, quite. That's precisely my point. Clearly that someone wearing green was the victim. And clearly that funny little Nipponese man with the disturbing mustache is the culprit. But let's not forget, madam, the defendant vehemently denies attacking the woman. Why, of course he does. If he admits to stabbing her, his life is over. That man is obviously a liver-faced coward, honestly, claiming the woman simply collapsed before his eyes. But if that's a lie as you're suggesting, do you not think you would have concocted something more credible? Oh, I really couldn't say. After all, you are foreign. Who's to say what goes through your funny little minds? I can tell you what's going through my funny little mind right now, but you wouldn't like it. I do declare the man has already made the admission. He himself has stated that there was nobody else around. Surely the conclusion is obvious. No one else could possibly have committed this awful crime. If no one else could have done it, the accuser must be the man. Really, it couldn't be more simple.
Your argument is compelling in its simplicity, I must admit.
Oh my, you are too kind, my lord. That went well for her. excuse me, but aren't you... Yeah.
Yes, that's right. I was in the witness stand myself just 2 days ago.
Yes, I had a feeling I knew your face. Or the sight of it, anyway. If I remember correctly, you're a banker, aren't you?
That's right. After the gold rush down under, I came back to London to work. And it was all going swimmingly until you started fussing around. Bruce Fairplay was a man of repute.
Sorry?
Don't think I've forgotten how you treated me the other day. You had me and that young hatter pegged as criminals.
Oh, well, you know, water under the bridge.
Now there's all sorts of rumors buzzing around, and the police have been badgering me non-stop.
If I could turn back the clock.
Well, anyway, I don't know about the hatter, but at least I'm in the clear now. I'm free to make up my own mind about who's guilty and who isn't.
Thank goodness. Alright, maybe I might struggle to change this man's mind, given our awkward history. Oh dear. Oh no, it's becoming Mr. First now. Oh dear. We press Joan here.
Hold it!
Whatever is the matter, young man? You're the wife of Mr. Gardeb, aren't you? The landlord who rents Mr. Natsume his room. The master's wife? Where do you get your ideas, sir? I'm the maid. The maid, you understand. She's keeping up that charade. Ugh. This is going to be awkward. Why didn't you mention this yesterday? That you'd be selected for the jury in this trial, I mean.
Well, I was told not to mention it to anyone until the day of the trial, you see. I was in the letter I received.
The instructions were very clear. I'm afraid I had no choice. I see. Anyway, Mr. Natsume, the defendant, takes lodging in your master's house, doesn't he?
Yes, that's right. Although he's only been in a little over a week now.
And in that time, surely he must have taken stock of his character. Calvin. Did Mr. Natsume look like the kind of man who would commit such a crime as this?
Oh my goodness me, yes. He's just the sort.
What?
Spending all his time in that dark and dingy room, sporting that unscrupulous mustache. The man never speaks, and don't get me started on those shifty eyes. All the neighbors are talking about him. I've heard them, you know. People think he must be building a bomb in there or something.
Oh dear. Poor Mr. Natsume. How can people say such things about him? He's just a harmless bookworm. Nothing more. Well, you just called him a worm, so... Anyway, I better be careful about inviting this maid to speak. She's said enough damning things already. Which means we need to... We can't present stuff, so we need to pit now. I slept over that evening myself. There has to be something about that, right? Your brain won't let you get tired. If he said that a woman in green collapsed before his eyes, why it could only have been the victim. Guess I'll stay here again, huh? We'll probably just go until the end of this jury examination thing, depending how long this takes. I think she slipped. We can't press the old man again, can we?
Hold it!
And that was at around 5 o'clock, you say? The same time as the victim was attacked?
I don't know anything about the girl who was stabbed, but my dinner's on the table at the same time every day.
And for the record, could you please identify the precise location of your fall?
Goodness, it was aeons ago now. I'm not sure I can remember.
It was 3 days ago. Try dredging your memory, please.
Well, let me see. It was especially slippery around about... Ah, yes, I remember now. It was just on the corner here.
Okay. What happened to you then? Were you alright?
Well, you don't get too many people down Calabash Road, you see. So there was no one around when I fell. No one around when I knocked myself out. No one around when I came to again. And no one around when I sneezed. So I picked myself up and went back to my nice warm house where my grandchildren were waiting for me.
Alright.
I saw the lonely picture you paint, sir. You were fortunate not to have frozen to death.
Yes, how lucky that it wasn't more seriously injured. True. It sounds like it was very nearly another hospital mission. Or worse, expulsion. Ah, yes. One more thing. Were you wearing that same green overcoat on the day in question? Fuck, he is wearing a green over. I didn't even fucking notice he's wearing a green coat. I did not wear any. I've been completely glossing over his jacket. I've just been looking at his face. Absolutely, it's the only coat I have. I took until this morning to dry out properly. Good job too, or I'd have had nothing to do wear here. So the fucking victim saw him fall. Count your blessings, I say. Or at least the jurors can be pitted against each other at that point. Suppose we should. This gentleman certainly had a close shave there. Don't worry, Susato. You changed the jurors' minds, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes. I know what to do. Yep. Wish I knew how to do the Susato takedown. I suppose words will just suffice for now. So, it's pretty silly. That's the idea, though. It throws you off. Right. So, if he said that a woman in green collapsed before his eyes, why it can only been the victim? Right. We pit that against that he slipped.
Objection!
He saw him. Those two statements clearly show a flaw in the juror's reasoning.
A flaw? What are you talking about, counsel?
Well, juror number 2, juror number 6. Whatever do you mean, sir? I think perhaps the old man didn't hear you. Unbelievable. It's not like I was loud or anything. There's at least one fact of which we can be sure here. The bookshop receipt found in the defendant's room clearly indicates that on the day of the attack, he had been to your books and purchased a number of second-hand titles. He then returned home on foot. But the man says he has no recollection of his return journey. That's correct. But what he does remember is seeing someone appear in front of him on the way. Someone in a green overcoat who suddenly collapsed on the pavement before his eyes. Yes, we are well aware of this. The poor young woman who was stabbed, obviously.
Objection!
Can we really be sure of that, madam? Why? Whatever do you mean? I'm sure you had heard juror number 6's account of what happened to him that day. That same afternoon, there was somebody else apart from the victim who was wearing a green overcoat and who fell over on the icy streets in the neighborhood. Oh my. My goodness. You mean... That's right. I'm referring, of course, to hard of hearing juror number 6. Are you really suggesting that the person in the green overcoat whom the defendant saw collapse in front of his eyes was the holy jolly old gentleman at the end of the bench here with me today? That is entirely possible, yes. After all, the old man has a somewhat similar build to the victim.
Well, look at that.
My goodness me.
Sorry, you need a pee?
And crucially, we know precisely where the old man in the green overcoat fell. On Calabash Road. Therefore, if the person who Mr. Natsume saw collapsing in front of him was in fact juror number 6, it means the defendant must have taken the long route back to his lodgings. And if that's true, then clearly, rotund. The crime scene on Briar Road where the woman was stabbed was not on his way home. Oh my! Got him.
You idiot, old man. If you hadn't been so daft as to be roaming about there, we'd have boxed this off hours ago.
And really, what were you thinking wearing such a befuddling coat?
What did you say to me? Is it a crime for the elderly to walk the street these days? Is it a crime to slip over on the ice? Is it a crime to keep up with the latest styles and wear a beautiful green overcoat? Is it?
She's gonna say some racist shit, doesn't she? My lord, I do hope it won't cause any inconvenience, but...
You'd like to change your leading, I presume?
Yes, I do declare that I would. I should like to call for a verdict of not guilty. Thank you.
And I would too. But is it a crime to change your mind, is it? Well...
Alright, you're happy again. Yes. Once we get her, that's the 4 we need. Come on. Yes.
Well, that submission examination has concluded with a rather large shift in opinion. The eyes 2, the nose 4, so the nose have it. Not guilty, they say. Which means we no longer have a consensus among the members of the jury. The trial will continue.
Objection!
No. Could it seem churlish of me
who drink from my hallowed chalice moments after raising an objection, only to crush it in disgust. Pray forgive the discourtesy.
Lord Van Zieks?
It seems I must retract my earlier remark.
What do you mean?
I mistakenly credited these jurors with intelligence by describing them as insightful. Yet we have just witnessed them fall for a cheap trick performed by an Eastern entertainer.
Hey!
Whatever do you mean?
Objection.
I haven't tricked anyone. Everything I said is the truth. We're looking to be approaching the actual normal stream length time limit, so just in case you want to go, you can go. I don't know. I'm trying to find like an opportune moment when the jury stuff is done. Just in case.
Indeed, stalwart juror number 5 was undoubtedly repairing the road as he claims. I believe you said it was a good 2 yards of the pavement which you had excavated, sir.
That's right. Took me the whole day and they paid me a measly tuppence for it.
Now, my learned Nibonese friend, tell me, do you have any notion of the distance that 2 yards represents?
Well, if I'm honest, I don't have a clue, no. 2 yards is a little less than 2 meters. Less than 2 meters? That's not much at all.
In other words, a distance readily vaulted by anyone of moderate vigor. Would you not agree, my stalwart friend?
You would have had any chance to sleep? Oh, okay.
Hey, me? Well, I can't say you're wrong, no. What? And did you perchance erect a sign to prevent pedestrians from passing the site of your works?
I wouldn't dream of it. What a waste of time. No coaches would have had a hope of passing anyway. We just turn any gentlefolk back when they come. Kids just jump right over us all the time.
The accused is no gentleman as far as I can see. I have little doubt, however, that he could spring over a 2-yard trench in his meanderings around town.
Huh. Is that true? Is it?
The incontrovertible truth is that the books just purchased by the accused were found at the scene. There can be no doubt that on his way back to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume walked down Briar Road.
Ah. Crushed in a single sentence.
And, old man.
Cold man, you can talk?
You say that around 5 o'clock in the day in question, you slipped and fell on Calabash Road. Pray, was there a suspicious-looking Nipponese behind you at the time?
Oh, I can't say as I remember. Pause that time. You don't remember?
How about a wager, my learned friend? You say it was this old man that the accused saw, but I would lay 1,000 to 1 against you being able to prove it.
I do. Ah! Order, order! Lord Van Zieks, explain yourself.
My lord?
If you had such a trenchant argument up your sleeve, why in the world did you not proffer it during the summation examination?
I wanted to give this young foreign student the sightseeing experience he no doubt came for. I wanted him to see for himself how the opinion of the jury is so readily swayed.
Ah.
But my hospitality has its limits, and they have been reached, I feel.
Now the fucking cape's off, fine.
So, my learned friend, today's sightseeing tour of London is now over.
What are you talking about?
My lord, the prosecution requests permission to call its next witness to the stand.
Granted. Bailiff, bring forth the witness.
Its next witnesses?
Mr. Naruhodo, do you not remember? You've been told on several occasions that there were eyewitnesses to the incident. Yes, I remember. One of them being a Scotland Yard policeman, no doubt. I'm afraid that's likely to be the prosecution's next witness. Alright, no matter what Hugh Van Zieks brings to the stand as his witness, and no matter what they say, I believe in Suseki-san. I know he's innocent, and I'll keep believing to the very end, until this battle is over. Oh, we're gonna get a save point, eh? Ah. Oh, what the
Witness, please, state your names and occupations for the court.
What's going on here, huh?
Ah!
Constable Royley Bates, sir. Nothing to report on the streets, sir.
And I'm Miss Beat. Patricia's my name. I'm proud to say I'm this young town hero's wife.
What's the story here?
Well, in truth, we've not been married long. In fact, we celebrated our first anniversary only the other day.
gone, huh? No, it was your husband I was asking about. He seems tired.
Hardly surprising. Whilst being an honourable occupation, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world.
Oh, really? I'm sure I've heard that before, actually. Yeah, the spectacles. Not sure that part of the helmet was in the mouth.
Indeed, apart from the rare days off, our gallant officers trudge some 20 miles a day, you know. They patrol boarding houses and pubs, collect taxes, survey the streets, check the meters that are reading true, and they're responsible for keeping the streets clean and lighting and extinguishing our streetlights.
There are a number of items on that list that don't sound much like policing duties at all. I wouldn't just be falling asleep at my feet. I'd have collapsed long ago.
But it goes without saying that a policeman's primary duty is the apprehension of criminals. Even when he's off duty, a constable is expected to investigate and resolve any crimes on his beat. For the London Bobby is a man of honour.
He's gone, huh? And a man of slumber. That's me, huh?
On the day in question, this man and his wife were walking down Briar Road in the opposite direction, and they witnessed the incident as it occurred. Is that not correct, Mr. and Mrs. Beat?
That's right, sir. Isn't it, Rowley?
Constable Rowley Beat, sir. Nothing to report on the streets, sir.
What a great witness he's going to be.
Very good. I'd like to hear your formal testimonies now, please. You will tell the court exactly what you saw on the afternoon on the incident. Yes, sir.
Witness testimony. What the witnesses saw. And that's where we will leave it for today. Before we get into the testimony, we will leave it for next week. The first adventure that's actually lasted us more than a week's of streams. Because it's quite a long one. There's like an investigation portion and a courtroom. Usually they've been split up in this game, but they put them together like the older games, which I really like. So, that's Ace Attorney done for the week. Tomorrow, we will be resuming a bit on Dark Souls 2. So we'll be playing that tomorrow, Thursday. And then on Friday and Saturday, we'll be back with some Yakuza Kiwami 2. Only missed about half out. Oof. I mean, the VOD's there, right? Thanks all for watching tonight. I know we said we talk about emotes and stuff, which I realize we haven't really done that much. But I'm going to, if I get paid now at midnight, I will be putting in a message to Kiandi about 3 new emotes, which will be Better TTV emotes. I'll not be telling you about any of them. You'll see them when they come, and they'll be added to Better TTV. And if you're on the Discord, you'll get them all as well. But yes, thanks for watching. Dark Souls 2 tomorrow, and yeah, have a lovely night.